From the creators who brought you RuPaul's Drag Race and $1 Million Listing, this is World of Wonder's Wow Report. Things that make us go wow.
Hello everyone and welcome to this week's edition of the Wow Report, where we count down the top 10 things of the week that make us go wow. I am Fencer Bailey, co-founder of World of Wonder, joined by our Chief Creative Officer, Tom Campbell.
Hello, hello, hello.
And, of course, James St. James.
How do you do?
Very well, thank you. Okay, there are so many things to get into, but just to say, it's going to be a fun weekend at RuPaul's DragCon LA 2024.
Can I tell you the amount of energy I have put into these outfits? Every night I spend about 3 hours crawling through my closet, trying different hats with different earrings, with different brooches, with different belts, with different shoes. I'm switching in this and that. And I'm so muddled and befuddled. I have no idea what you don't even know what I'm gonna.
So you do not
wearing exactly what I'm wearing now.
You do not want to miss this freak show.
You don't want to miss this freak show. It is going to be a mishmash of a panoply of pizzazz.
Wow. One important point of clarity is it's Friday and Saturday this year.
Oh,
Friday and
thank you, Tom. It is Friday and Saturdays. As we are speaking, as you are hearing the sound of our voices, we are down at the LA Convention Center. But if you're in LA, or even if you're not, get on a plane. Get your tickets, of course. RuPaulsDragCon.com. So that's Friday and Saturday.
Yeah, I'll be at the Wow Presents Plus booth both days.
I love it. Signing. James, please don't fall over and break any limbs. Not because that's what that was.
I'm not giving any promises.
Okay, all right. But we're here to count down, and we haven't even started number 10.
Number 10.
The Emmy nominations were announced this week, and I know, James, you're bored, but RuPaul's Drag Race and
fight! I'm throwing my fist in the air.
Thank you. In our 16th season, we received 10 nominations. So tens across the board. We have to go on Emmy panels and things that nobody sees, trust me. But because, we've won a lot of Emmys and we're very grateful for it. And I say this and I mean it from my heart. It's like any attention we get toward RuPaul's Drag Race, any Emmys, the landscape is changing so fast. The political landscape, holy moly, what's it going to be like next year? And as much as people think, oh, drag's gone mainstream, drag isn't mainstream. Drag by its very existence is very edgy and very upsetting to a lot of people and easily used as a tool of division, right? So anytime we get a nomination, an Emmy, whatever, to me, it's like that's the part that white, straight business guys will understand in terms of like, maybe we should let them do this one more year. I feel like every year we're in surviving.
That at the Republican National Convention, that all the bars in Minneapolis, where are they? That they're all doing drag shows every night to keep.
No, I know. We will not be silenced. I just don't want.
We will not be silenced. Drag queens and drag. God bless the drag queens. God bless World of Wonder. It is so fantastic that year after year after year, it is a juggernaut that never stops.
And it was 9 years in before we actually got a nomination. I'm sorry, Ben.
Exactly. True. And congratulations, of course, to Ru, who notches up another nomination as host.
We're up for Best Reality Competition Program. We're up for Production Design. We're up for Casting. We're up for Choreography for the first time. And Jamal is nominated. Jamal Simmons, who used to dance with Ru at the RuPaul talk show and is gone so far. Outstanding Directing for Reality Program, Nick Murray. Outstanding Picture Editing for a Structured Reality Show. Outstanding Picture Editing for an Unstructured Reality Program, that's Untucked. Outstanding Host Ru. Outstanding Unstructured Reality Program, that's Untucked. And then competition, like I said, and sound mixing. So we have the best crew and cast in the world, and we have so much fun doing the show. We all laugh and love, and I think it comes through in the pixels. And whatever happens next, the 10 nominations are very appreciated. And again, I just keep drag alive, keep freedom of expression. And congratulations to all our fellow nominees. It was really, it's a very competitive, excellent year in television, I think, all around.
Very nicely said. And those Emmys are on September 15th for the second time in 1 year, right?
I've got to lose 20 pounds by September 15th. Okay, good to know.
Congratulations, Tom, because your role on the show is absolutely crucial, as is everybody's. But it really is a very, very brings a tear to my eye.
Takes a village, all of us.
Right, you go. Takes a village. James, number 9.
Number 9.
We lost a lot of celebrities this week, and I think
we sure did.
I think we should celebrate them, and we should talk about how gorgeous they all are. We lost Shannen Doherty, who fought so hard for so long, for so many years. She just was. I mean, it was a heartbreaking story to watch unfold as it happened in real time. It's hard to understate how popular Brenda was. 90210. When you talk about juggernauts, you talk about iconoclasts, you talk about something that just changed the landscape of television. Beverly Hills 90210 just was the template for, I mean, you wouldn't have Gossip Girl, you would never Riverdale, you wouldn't have any of the, nighttime soap operas about high school. I mean, she was it, and she was one of those stars like Julia Roberts, Kiefer Sutherland, Roseanne Barr. You just think Delta Burke, all these people who were in the National Enquirer every week. Like, they were just on every tabloid every night. It was just a feeding frenzy.
And she was also a child star.
She was a child star. She was on Little House on the Prairie. She went on to do Charmed. But she was so good. We also lost Richard Simmons, who was, an absolute angel on this planet. He was gay when people were not being gay. And he never really came out of the closet, but he was the
but
gay.
That would be redundant.
It would be redundant. He was America's gay best friend. He was everyone knew a gay person because of Richard Simmons,
and loved one, and felt supported by them. And his contribution to fitness and health, and not just sort of not just skinny people getting skinnier, but people of all different shapes and sizes living their best life. That was really his best.
His empathy and his love for the overweight community. I mean, you really felt it. He believed in it. He loved them.
He was a former fatty, and I say that with love, as someone who weighs the most on this call.
Exactly. And also, just very quickly, Shelley Duvall, who was, I mean, when you think of Nashville, Three Women, you think of Popeye, the song "He Needs Me." Just go and Google Shelley Duvall, "He Needs Me" from Popeye. It will break your heart. It is so beautiful. Her performance in Shining. We've had Seth Abramovich on the show talking about his friendship with her. He wrote a really moving piece in the Hollywood Reporter about his friendship, and it's
in her late years, she was kind of forgotten, and he
she suffered some mental illness. She she was surrounded by friends, and she did have a support group about her. But just God bless Shelley Duvall.
One of those for kids. Yeah, she was great. And for kids of my age, she had these, I think it was on HBO, but they were released to video, which I would rent at the video store. And they were like retellings of fairy tales.
Oh, Shelley Duvall. No, I'm Shelley Duvall. Yeah, the fairy tales. Yes, those. And you know who did the costumes for that?
Who?
Pat Fields.
Wow.
Oh, yes, that's how she got her first Emmy, and that's how she got her Sex and the City job.
Wow.
That's great.
Rest in perfection, all. And I think there's some more too that we will be talking about later in the show. Let's go on to number 8.
Number 8.
Cue the sun. Do you know where that line comes from? Cue the sun.
No, I thought you were just going to talk about the weather again this week. But go ahead.
No. I'm reading a book, and it's called Cue the Sun. I actually don't have a copy of the book because I'm just reading it on my Kindle and listening to it on the Audible. Anyway, Cue the Sun is the history of reality television.
Oh.
And it is written by Emily Nussbaum, who used to be the TV critic of The New Yorker. And you probably want to know where the title comes from. It's from the movie The Truman Show.
Oh, sure.
So cue the sun. The director, the creator of the show says, cue the sun, which means turn on all the lights. And that because they're looking for Truman, who is played by Jim Carrey in the movie.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. Anyway,
now, am I safe to say, Fenton? Am I safe to say, Fenton, that you were quoted in this book?
Oh well, I wasn't going to talk about that.
Oh,
I heard her speak on NPR, and you were quoted extensively.
Really? I didn't hear. Really?
Yes.
Oh, I'll be right back.
Go Google yourself.
He was just on the news the other day too.
Wait a minute. Are you reading a book that you were quoted for and you didn't know that you were quoted for and you're good?
No, I knew I was quoting it because I used the search function to look up my name. But although actually someone with the name of Bailey is one of the sort of founders of reality TV with Queen for a Day. And this is what makes the book, like one of the things that makes the book so fascinating isn't so much moi as it is the very early days of reality, which in her account even goes really back to radio because it was candid microphone before it was candid camera. And there were Blind Date was a radio show, a whole bunch of things.
I forgot about Queen for a Day. That was a horrible show.
Well, there is a sort of ambivalence, I would say, in the writing. I mean, I suppose she knows she is writing for an audience who may not be that favorably inclined. You know, your New York Times readers may not be inclined to reality TV. So, but I think she walks a very deft line of being a little bit poo-pooing, and on the other hand, sort of enjoying she calls Chuck Barris, who's another pioneer of reality TV. Of course, he calls him he was known as the Ayatollah of Trashola. Yeah.
The Ayatollah of Trashola.
Trashola, yes. But I've just completed the chapter that's all about an American family, and it's so fascinating. Fascinating in the sort of vituperativeness with which the show was greeted. It was torn to shreds by the critics. It also was very out of step for like PBS. You know, it was seen as a sort of really radical.
No, Fenton, have you actually? I've never actually watched it beat for beat, episode for episode. Have you?
No, I have. I've seen clips, and I've even seen a couple of episodes. And interestingly, the very first thing they filmed for that, I think, is the sort of the touchstone of the entire series. It's Lance Loud at the Chelsea Hotel. His mom comes to visit. It's like
isn't Hollywood Lawn there? Isn't Hollywood?
Yeah.
How can you watch it? Is it out there?
That's the other interesting thing. It hasn't been repeated that much, and I was thinking, oh my gosh, we should get it and try and put it on 100% because it would be. I think there's a total of 12 episodes, and then they did some sequels, some sort of reunion-y type things. But what an amazing show, and how, with the perspective of time, you realize that Lance, you know, the gay one, was the star, was the driving force. And even though he got really slagged off by a lot of homophobic criticism in the press, and some of it quite highbrow press, actually, he has emerged fundamentally as the shining light of the show, right?
Oh, you get me drunk enough, I'll tell you some Lance Loud stories. I have some after hours Lance Loud stories.
Oh my gosh! Well, Vegas just texted me. Let's go to a break. So I really do recommend it, even if I am in it in later chapters. You know. My role in the book is just to dispute the idea that Trump is a reality TV president. I just say, look, Trump corrupts everything he touches. He didn't corrupt reality. It isn't reality TV that made him president. Anyway, let's take a break, Blake. Really nicely put. If you go right now to worldofwonder.com/wowies, you can vote for the Wowies. The opening is the voting, thank you, is still open for the Wowies, because this is where awards season begins, is with the Wowie Awards that are going to be awarded at the final day of DragCon. Yeah, got there in the end. We'll be right back after the break.
You're listening to World of Wonders Wow Report. Things that make us go wow.
Welcome back to the Wow Report. I'm Fenton here with James and Tom and Blake. We're counting down the top 10 things of the week that made us go
wow.
And we've reached number 7.
Number 7.
Never before, in a long time anyway, have I run to watch something on streaming, because it feels like it's always going to be there forever. But I ran to watch Faye, the Faye Dunaway documentary. I want to give you my brief idea about it, my overall thoughts, and then I want to hear from you guys. You've seen it, both of you?
I haven't seen it. No.
I have seen it.
Somebody saw it and they said they were a little underwhelmed. The thing about it is, so much has been said and hypothesized and spread. It's authored by her son, and I don't have the name of the director here. This wonderful French director who also did the Natalie Wood documentary recently. And right off the top, they have the Betty Davis on the Johnny Carson show going, "I wouldn't work for Faye Dunaway for $1 million." And then they have this open mic of her saying, "I'm ready to go. Why aren't we going? How come? What am I waiting for?" And then her talking about her body and what's going on. And, which you can catch a lot of people in those moments if you don't look too closely.
Right here.
Yes. But the great excuses, and I don't mean this about because I suffer from a lot of these problems too, but she admits her alcoholism, which I'd heard about. And she says that she's been diagnosed with bipolar. So when she looks back at certain moments in her life, she goes, and that's when the bipolarism was really active. She didn't have that diagnosis till later in life. But wow, there was no one more beautiful and stunning than Faye Dunaway. It's amazing to see pictures of her. She grew up in Florida. She was kind of white trash, and she was kind of round.
Marianna, Florida. We had a ranch in Marianna, Florida, where she was from. Yeah.
Thank you. She was black, dark brown hair, black and white pictures, round face, and she emerged not through work, but just through losing weight. To that,
those cheekbones, dear God in heaven,
yes. Eyebrows and the hats and the fashion, and you know the movies, but Bonnie and Clyde, no one had a 10-year run like Faye Dunaway. Iconic Chinatown, Network, Bonnie and Clyde, the Thomas Crown Affair, the Eyes of Mars, unbelievable. And the part that they blame, Sharon Stone's interviewed, and they basically blame the director for not modulating her performance in Mommy Dearest. The problem with that is there's not one flaw in Mommy Dearest, according to me. I love that movie.
That's the crazy thing. She says it killed her career, but it was the capstone of her career. It was.
If she would have just rode the wave, like
a little bit. Yeah. But I do think there's a lot of factors, right? She was turning 40 or so. She became famous like in her late 20s. So she reached that awful hurdle at the end of the 70s, beginning of the 80s, where you're no longer, effable. And I do think there was, old Hollywood still existed, and I think they circled their wagons, and it was like, don't tell the behind the scenes secret. And that novel, Mommy Dearest, was really the first full-on child abuse memoir.
I thought the film was great up until they had done with Mommy Dearest. And then I just felt it sort of fell off a cliff. It was just like, and then this, and then that. And I also sort of parted ways with it ideologically when when Sharon Stone blames the director. I was like, no. That is not going to work. And also I feel there was a lack of recognition of just how great that film was.
Yeah.
And a complete misunderstanding. But of course, we know that because camp has always been put in a box as some sort of marginal, problematic genre. And I think that it's too bad that Faye didn't really appreciate how great she was in the film.
I mean, she still doesn't appreciate. I don't think
she has made some progress in that way, and she's lightened up. The other thing, the relationship between her and her son, who it can't be easy for her son having a recovered alcoholic bipolar mother. But there's something where he talks about a relatively recent project where he set it up where she was going to play Katharine Hepburn in a one-woman play, and that she didn't want to do it. She was afraid of it. She didn't like it, and she self-destructed, and it closed in Boston.
Well, is that what happened with her Maria Callas thing, Masterclass too? Didn't she do didn't the same thing happen?
Well, they talked about how she did the performance. Then when she did the performance, she bought the film rights, and then she insisted on full creative control. And she says, I made the wrong decisions. I mean, she's not afraid to look at herself and say, oops, made a mistake there. Oops, made a mistake there. She's not precious that way.
Well, if you live in Hollywood, every single person in Hollywood has a Faye Dunaway story. Every single, you talk to people who are working at movie, taking tickets at movies, and they have stories about her.
Exactly. And
I have my story about she threw the stapler at my head. I've told it a million times.
I do love that she gets to speak her truth, but I do feel it ducks some issues in a
Same
way James ducked that stapler at Book Soup.
Yeah, did she tell the story of throwing the stapler at my head in the documentary?
It's going to be in the extras, the DVD extras. The last thing I want to say, we have to move on, is maybe the highlight of my entire career / life was there is like a 4-second clip of Alyssa Edwards as Mommy Dearest on RuPaul's Drag Race in the Faye Dunaway documentary. Thank you. Made it.
Yes. Yes. All right.
Now,
number 666.
Number 6.
You'd think I would have learned my lesson with the Princess Kate conspiracy theories this year when everything went bananas. And I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist about this assassination attempt because someone died. So, and people were wounded, but there are some weird things about it that don't add up. There was the fact that the shooter was on the roof and he was seen by the Secret Service and he was allowed to be it was shot by an AR-15. 88 shots were fired before they took him down. And it wasn't a bullet that grazed his ear, as some people are saying. It was probably a glass shard or something. But the weird thing is that we haven't seen. He didn't go to a doctor. He didn't go to the emergency room. He didn't go to a hospital. He went to Ronnie Johnson, Dr. Ronnie Johnson, the one who prescribes all the pills for everyone at the White House. We haven't had any medical experts on air saying what happened to him. We haven't had any real concrete news. We just have him with a Kotex pad taped to his ear and showing up at the thing. And the way that the photo with the fist pump in the air and the fight and the flag waving and everything, I don't want to be that person, but you can't help but think that there's something weird and off about it. Tell me I'm wrong. Go.
I feel like no comment on furthering your story, but you are absolutely correct. Like, the mind can't help but go there. I don't want to stay there, and I haven't done a lot of research about it, and I don't know if the truth or the non-truth will ever be told.
The thing that I always go back to is that, it's the MAGA people who are the gun nuts, who are the Trump supporters, the Trump lovers. Democrats aren't wild assassins. They aren't wild. I mean, it doesn't feel like it doesn't feel. If anything, a MAGA person would go after Biden or Hunter Biden or something like that. It doesn't feel like. It just doesn't feel like. And they say that the shooter was Republican. And I don't know any. None of it.
Not much seems to have been revealed about the shooter.
Nothing is real. And I want to see the family. I want to see the funeral for the man who was killed. I want to see the story of what happened. I want to see the progress that the other people who were wounded. I want to see what's happening. And it seems like there's a media blackout about it. They just aren't discussing it. It's very weird. Fenton.
Well, for a long time, people thought the Reichstag fire was deliberately set by Hitler. And it probably wasn't.
What?
But it's just the way there is a weird way events can appear to conspire in a way that just defies what we may want or what logic may.
Yes.
It's just truth is stranger than fiction sometimes.
Yes,
That's very true, and it was a perfect storm that created this opportunity for Donald Trump that he is riding to probably presidency.
Do fear that we don't just default to conspiracy; we start there today. It's like something happens, you're like, oh, well, that didn't really happen. They're not really dead. This didn't really,
Well, that's just it too, because when I'm reading things and when I see a picture on Instagram, a beautiful fashion picture, is it real or is it AI? I don't know anymore. I don't know what's real anymore. I have no idea. And as we've learned over the past with Biden in the debate, with Princess Kate, all this stuff, we're being lied to by the media, and there's nobody to trust. I don't trust anybody.
But we all have, for a long time we have been. I'm not defending this, but I think we've been lied to forever. I think there's 3 different versions of the truth at least. And I think history cleans things up, and the victor gets to tell their story. So I don't know if it's that different or if it's because we're inundated. But I just want you to know the only thing you can really count on, the only truth in this world,
is the WoW Report.
The WoW Report.
Well, actually, moving on to number 5.
Number 5.
That's right, because I got to bring it back to me.
Phew! It was too long.
Inspired by you, Tom, a couple of weeks ago, you talked about hits of the past.
Yes.
And this particular hit, I have always loathed this song. It's called When I'm 64. And the reason it's popped back up is yesterday I turned 60.
Wait a minute. Wait, it was your birthday?
Yep.
Wait a minute.
Actually, 64. Never mind me, James. The story here is like, hey, well, how did I get here? That's great that I'm still around, I guess. But
yes.
I remember as a kid when this song came out thinking, expletive, 64 is really, really old. And as the years have passed, I have dreaded this milestone. I am glad to be alive. Don't get me wrong, but it's just this awful song that is like an earworm that once you hear it will not leave your brain. And the lyrics are so sort of mawkish and sentimental. It's by the Beatles. It's actually, I did not know this, one of the first songs that Paul McCartney ever wrote. And he wrote it when he was 14 years old in 1956. Can you believe that? I mean, but it's like, when I get older, losing my hair many years from now, will you still be sending me a Valentine, birthday greetings, bottle of wine? I swear to you, it just makes me want to like strangle someone, myself probably, but like it's like sort of greetings, dad's Father's Day card or something. It's just it's like the song is like nails on a chalkboard to me. Do you have feelings about this song or not?
I think you can look in the bright side, Fenton. It's now in your rearview mirror. The song no longer pertains to you.
This is true. It can no longer.
It's so funny. I mean, it's a song. It's one of those songs that's so catchy. The first time you hear it, you're like, I love it. And by the 19th time you heard it, you're like, someone saved my soul. But
I remember when I was 17, Edge of 17 by Stevie Nicks was a big song. And when I was 16, there was a song about being 16.
James, I learned the truth at 17. I was made for beauty queen.
Were you 17?
Probably.
Oh my God! And you were that ugly.
I was squish.
Squish, zit. Oh, poor Tom.
Fenton, the headline's buried here. I love you, and I love that you're 64, and Creek, all these things are happening to us. But how wonderful! And look at all you've done, and all the love in your life, and what a wonderful.
We were having cocktails, and you didn't mention that there was birthday cocktails.
Well, it wasn't then, was it? And I was like dreading the hours as
it was the day before, wasn't it? Was it the day before?
James, this is Friday, remember? So we...
Were you going to buy or something, James? You were going to buy all the cocktails?
Yes.
I think now
I was paying for dinner with Fenton
At Chateau Marmont.
Can you play a 1M64 on the way out, please?
Let's do that.
You
Let's
make that
take a
up?
break and you can all listen to the song and decide what you think about it. We'll be right back after the awful song has played.
You're listening to World of Wonders Wow Report. Things that make us go wow.
Welcome back to the Wow Report. I'm Fenton here with James and Tom and Blake. We're counting down the top 10 things of the week that made us go
wow.
And we've reached number 4. Number 4.
Number 4.
James, I agree with you. We lost a lot of celebrities this week, and I want to focus on one, and that is, I'll try to keep it short. Just kidding. It's Dr. Ruth. Dr. Ruth West. It was such a staple of our lives.
Oh my God. I think that's a genuine belly laugh. I just used that was really very good.
Oh my God.
He hasn't laughed like that in years.
I'm going to just quote from her to tell you what an exemplary woman she was. As much as she's a joke on these things, she was a German refugee. She lost her parents in the Holocaust. She said, I was left with the feeling that because I was not killed by the Nazis, because I survived, I had an obligation to make a dent in the world. What I didn't know was that dent would end up with me talking about sex from morning till night. She's revolutionary in talking about sex. On the Tonight, I was in an 84 interview with New York Times. She noted the importance of humor in teaching. If a professor leaves the students laughing, she said, they will walk away remembering that what they have learned. Just simple but very powerful words. She was on Tonight Show, and Johnny said that many people are bashful about talking about sex. And she said, if you do it in good taste, and if you do it properly, then it can be, everything can be talked about. Everything. Which I love that openness, again, from a woman who's defied death. And in 2015, she said, I believe that the best sexual relationships have to be in a loving relationship. Not like in Hollywood on your first love or your first night of sex, but an enduring relationship, and realize how grateful we are that we have someone who cares for us. I don't know about that personally, but I'll take her word for it. And then she goes, while she favors openness, more than once she allowed that a romantic partner should keep some things to themselves. And she said, there are problems with this trend of to share everything, she said in 1985. I had a group seminar at a hospital where a doctor confessed that he was sometimes aroused by cows. When he went to his office, his secretary greeted him with, moo.
Tom, that is utterly ridiculous.
Thank you. And last but not least, and I think this is the best tip, and again, I don't think it includes me, active people, she thought, tended to be good in bed. She said, singling out skiing in particular. Skiers make the best lovers because they don't sit in front of the television like couch potatoes. She said, and she was also an accomplished skier, by the way. They take risks, they wiggle their behinds, and they also meet new people on the ski lift. Anyway, I am so charmed by her and so grateful that she brought the conversation of sex to the forefront.
Where would women's magazines be today without Dr. Ruth?
It's true.
Was she a survivor of Hitler's Germany?
Her parents perished in the Holocaust, and she was a refugee. Yeah. So what a life that she built out of it. And she was in 2 short-term relationships, but then she found the love of her life, and they were together for a long, long time. But
so could one say rest in pussy perfection, Dr. Ruth?
I think so. I think she would let you say that.
You're right. Number 3, James.
Number 3.
There's been a shakeup at CNN, and they have announced that they are making big changes. They are cutting staff. They are firing more than 100 people. The CNN chief, Marc Thompson, says he is leaning heavily into AI and digital subscription business. He wants to make it more of a direct to consumer subscription product that will be, he sees the shrinking revenue brought on by the decline of linear television, is what he says. and he plans to embrace artificial intelligence and make a strategic push into AI to determine how to safely harness this emerging technology to serve our audiences and deliver our journalistic goals more effectively and responsibly. Meaning, he is going to cut out the writers and the talking heads, and it is all going to be AI. And it sounds like the beginning of something. If this is, I am terrified of artificial intelligence. I think it will be the death of all of us. Like I was just saying before, when you go on Instagram and you don't know if a photo is real or not, and now the head of CNN is saying that they are turning over journalism to AI is terrifying to me. What do you think?
I just think about them. Will things like Fox still have advertising? Will that still have its outlet? But liberalish points of view or moderate points of view will be for sale and therefore smaller. I don't know. I just feel like there's.
I mean, on the optimistic side of things, James,
Please.
Every new technology is always greeted as some kind of doom-filled thing, right? It was the same with video, it was the same with TV, it was the same with the novel, it was the same with photography, it was going to be the end of art. So I don't know that I understand the moral panic, but I'm not sure that it does necessarily mean, I think it means things will be different, but I don't know.
It eliminates a lot of jobs because, I mean, don't you find that every time you go on to like HuffPo or Daily Mail or any New York Post or anything, it's all written by AI, and it doesn't feel like it's written by real people anymore.
Yes, I'm definitely getting that feeling. Certainly on Facebook, I read things and I think, is that possibly true? Like there's a sense of confusion. So anyway, you don't have to worry about Fox News because that's not artificial intelligence. That's just stupidity.
No, but will they continue to be free? Almost like can some of the billionaires in the world keep NPR funded? I don't know if the government will.
And just the fact that as we've learned, I keep going back to it with the Biden debate thing and how Shannon's numbers have plummeted. They don't seem to be learning the lessons. They aren't learning any. The people at the top are doubling down on things that are wrong for the culture and wrong for everyone. And I don't think that taking away journalists and replacing them with robots is the answer.
Doubtless you're right. But do you remember when CNN launched in the early 90s, I think? Was it in the 80s? Anyway, it was called the Chicken Noodle Network. It was ridiculed. It was seen as absurd. And the very idea of a 24-hour news network was like, that is the end of civilization itself. It's like one thing we don't need was...
I suppose.
I think the one thing we can be sure of is constant change.
Yes. James, just a quick question. Do you think that's really Fenton? Or is that...
Right? I don't know.
It doesn't seem to be espousing his points of view. It seems to be a softer, more compliant.
Yes.
The real Fenton died in 2015.
We can do a whole episode about living in the simulation because there's so many weird coincidences that just keep happening every day that I just keep thinking, like, I'm in a video game. Like, this is like I'm part of.
And this is AI Fenton at 64.
What do you think, James? Looking good. All right.
It's a face for radio.
He'll never trust you again. He'll never trust you again.
True.
It was right there.
Number two. I know, Tom, you've talked about this before. I Am Celine Dion.
Go on.
I hadn't seen it when you talked about it. I loved this. And it's an interesting contrast with Faye, I think, because I loved this from the moment it started. And I haven't always been a lifelong Celine fan, but thanks to Billy, I actually seen Celine perform a few times, and to see her is to love her because she is a kooky, dynamic, just fills the room with her lovely nuttiness and that incredible voice. And this documentary, as you so beautifully described, describes how I don't know if stiff person syndrome is a life-threatening disease, but it's certainly, from her career point of view, her talent, it's a kind of potentially most likely terminal blow. And this documentary is so human, and I don't want to re-review it because you did it so well, but I do want to make a prediction. It's going to win the Oscar. And I know we're a year out from the Oscars, from the Academy Awards, but this will win the documentary Oscar. I am convinced of it.
And why is that?
I've been right before. I was right about Navalny, and I was right about March of the Penguins, and I wasn't afraid to call them like months in advance because I think it's going to be very hard for anything.
I've already decided to vote for that now because of you on my Oscar ballot at your party this year. But we just, I mean, not to be crass, when people ask me how was the Faye documentary, I said, well, she didn't have a seizure on camera. Okay, I'm a horrible person because Celine has a seizure on camera, which is so compelling. I almost didn't watch it because of that, because I didn't want to peer into her most private. You know, I believe it happened legitimately on camera and all that kind of stuff. Yes. And how would you not include it? And it's part of what she's paying. You know, we shouldn't look away from the heart of sadness and danger. You know,
I found it watchable because I believe the intention was pure all along. You know, and so I didn't feel uncomfortable watching it. And I had already cried a lot in the way it was constructed. It's so thoughtfully, sensitively put together, and
you have a respect for her too, because, you know, again, everyone, you know, when you talk about Shannen Doherty or any of these people, they've had a whole life. You know, the bad girl Shannen Doherty that was on the cover of all those magazines, that's not who she became. You know, and Celine Dion was sort of like, oh, she has that older, you know, husband and she doesn't know what she's talking about. She's great. She's such a sophisticated, thoughtful, life-lived woman now. You know, it's like, give people a break. It's sort of like AI Fenton. They just, at some point, it all comes together.
James, have you seen it?
I haven't. I'll watch it tonight.
Yeah. And then we'll talk about it again. It's like
again.
Why did I have to do the Faye too? I can't believe I haven't watched either of them.
Well, and congratulations to the director Irene Taylor, because it's a spectacular film. All right, let's take one more break. There are new episodes of Drag Race Mexico on Fridays on Wow Presents Plus. You sign up, of course, at wowpresentsplus.com. And, of course, you can meet the queens at DragCon today, July 19th, and the 20th, Saturday, at the Los Angeles Convention Center. Tickets at RuPaulsDragCon.com.
Oh, I also want to say that season 1 of our podcast, Night Fever, has been uploaded onto YouTube. All of the episodes of season 1 are up, so please just type in Night Fever podcast Wow Presents and watch.
Yep, our latest episode, the season 1 finale, is really good with Joey Arias. But we also
hysterical.
Yeah, we also have Moby. We had Arnie Glam. We had Diane Brill,
Louis Extravaganza, Lisa Edelstein, Rudolph,
exactly.
Peter Davidson. Yes, fantastic episode series.
It really is awesome. One more break, and when we come back, reveal the number one thing this week that made us go wow.
You're listening to World of Wonders Wow Report. Things that make us go wow.
Welcome back to Wow Report. It's Fenton here with James and Tom and Blake, and we've reached the number one thing this week that made us go wow. Cue our special reveal. It's Randy.
Yay!
Number one.
I kind of invited myself because there was something I'd like to share. You can make it whatever number you want.
We're making it number one. We were
I wish I had shared it last week because today was a very sad day. Today was a day that Marc Jacobs cut off his.
No.
I'm hoping, I'm busy at work, so I wasn't able to watch the entire. I don't know if he was getting new ones put on or what was going on, or if he. But
Well, wait. The backstory here is for people who yes.
Marc Jacobs lately has become obsessed. And by the way, this season's, have you seen his runway this year?
It's amazing.
It's so good. He is
the best collection he's ever done.
He is so on top of his game, and it is so inspired. And he also has adopted these really long fingernails with jewels on them, which are very in sync with his latest collection. It's
very cartoonish. It's surreal. It's beyond. It's bizarre. Yes.
I also think it is like it's become for me. You know, it's such stressful times right now. The politics, like everything that's going on, you just want to escape. And the way I escape is watching Marc Jacobs tap his fingernail.
It's bonkers.
It is my zen. It is my everything. I've kind of fallen in love with him. I've always been sort of a fan from a distance, but what's happened with him and his fingernail, somehow I feel this deep connection to him. Because
it's so bizarre because he's always been a hot guy. He's hot. He's a friend of WoW. We love him to death. He's sexy and everything. But something with these nails, he just went somewhere in his head, and
and he's inviting us into
this madness.
You take a moment, and you're suddenly connected in a way that you cannot disconnect.
It's not fashion. It's not drag. It's just its own bizarre entity. It's just these fingernails just live on their own. It's just fantastic to watch. I'm with you. Every time I see him, I'm just like, I'm mesmerized.
Don't you get anxious about functionality
how does he wipe?
Or making toast or pressing the elevator button? I don't know. It's like I get worried.
For humans.
He has toilets that he doesn't need to wipe.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. He has wipers.
But it's not about I'm excited. We'll find out. It's a little bit of a cliffhanger whether he's done or after this. I'm gonna go check and see if he got new ones.
I have a question, like a stupid question actually, but did he actually grow the nails or are they all appliques?
No, there is this, what is she called, Tom Campbell? An esthetician? Or she's a fingernail queen who, I forget her name, and she is the co-star of the story, and I feel badly that I'm not giving her props. But he does have a woman who does his nails especially.
I feel like Michelle Visage should be on this. It feels like it's very like it's I'm with you 100%, Randy.
Yeah.
Well, we should post some pictures of some videos or some links to Marc Jacobs' nails. Yeah. Well, Randy, I guess you nailed it. That's great.
Thank you for allowing me to pop in, guys. I know it's a little bit of a,
thanks for waiting to the very last minute, Randy. Thanks for waiting to the very last minute. That's what we really appreciate.
See you at DragCon this weekend.
And to anybody listening, come see us tomorrow, Saturday, at the Los Angeles Convention Center for RuPaul's DragCon. Tickets are available at RuPaul'sDragCon.com, and we hope to see you there. Oh, I have a guest. Hello.
Hi, Elliot.
Yeah, it's okay. We'll just say hello.
Hello, I'm gonna see you once again in another year. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening. Same time, same place next week. Until then, go out and do something that makes the world go
wow.